Hi everyone and welcome back to Ask WSO. Today's video is going to be covering the highly requested topic of leverage finance. So a lot of you guys will hear things like LevFin, LF, or just leverage finance in general, and a lot of you guys had questions on, is it part of an investment bank? What exactly do you do in this job title, etc. And so today's video I'm going to go through a ton of information that we have on the site covering leverage finance, exit opportunities, and if you stick towards the end, there's a really interesting thread I'm going to go over that has a ton of topics in it, what you should know before going into your interview, into your internship, and things you're going to be doing on a daily basis, and a lot more. So definitely stick towards the end for that part. And yeah, let's just hop right into the video. Alrighty y'all, so like I mentioned, you're going to want to go ahead and hop online, and all I did was search in Google leverage finance, and of course the first result is wallstreetoasis.com. Once I've clicked on it, you're going to see the direct link here if you guys want to head over to that link. I'm also going to put it in the description box below, but here we're going to go in deep detail on what leverage finance is and just a little bit more about it. Alrighty, so leverage finance, you might have seen it listed somewhere else as LevFin or LF. So all of those are referring to the same thing. Now, when a lot of people hear different groups in investment banking, they get confused. Investment banking is a division of a bank, and in that investment banking division, there are multiple other sectors, and one of those is leverage finance. So yes, leverage finance is a part of investment banking. Now, this is a division that is responsible for providing advice and loans to private equity firms and corporations for leverage buyouts. If you have some questions about that group, you can go over it right here. Basically, your main concern is you're going to be working on acquisitions, recapitalizations, and asset purchases. Basically, a lot of companies are incentivized to do this using debt because it is a lot cheaper to use debt than equity or cash. Now, some people have some questions about debt capital markets and the difference between that, so that can be specified in this paragraph right here. One of the most prestigious leverage finance departments is JP Morgan in Europe, and I'm going to go over some of the other ones down here. Part of what leverage finance is lending extremely large amounts of capital. So boutiques can't necessarily be a part of this. Middle market firms like Jefferies, RBC, and GE Capital are big players. Now, a lot of people are interested in leverage finance because of the exit opportunities, which we'll go over in a second. Some of the best ones that you can work at that will help you get to private equity later on are going to be the ones right here. JP Morgan, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Credit Suisse, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Barclays, and RBS. Now, if you're wondering about salary, hours, etc. Unfortunately, at most banks, leverage finance is going to have pretty brittle hours. It's going to be among the top of different divisions that have the worst hours. So over here it says, just like M&A, there's about 70 to 80 hour work weeks, which are the normal, and if there's a deal or crunch time, you're going to have 100 plus hours. If you're wondering what you're going to be doing all those hours, is mostly credit analysis and modeling. Now, this can depend, of course, on the bank and what position you're in, because some people actually don't do modeling at all. So again, this would really depend on where you work. Now here, as you can see, the salary is comparable in about the 130K range. Since it is part of investment banking, you can always go ahead and look at the company salaries in our Wall Street Oasis company database, and it'll be under the investment banking gigs. Another question surrounding this, what is leverage lending versus leverage finance groups? Now, here's the main difference between these two things. At the base level, one is a firm and the other one is a division in a firm. So the one that is a firm is typically middle market, while the ones that contain a division are typically bulge bracket. So keep that in mind. Leverage finance groups at a bulge bracket bank, B of A, JP Morgan, etc., operate more similarly to GE Capital, just on a larger scale, both in terms of clients and debt quantums. Now, what everyone's been waiting for are the exit opportunities. The main things that you can expect to exit with are going to be hedge funds, private equity, and mezzanine funds. Besides these three exit opportunities specifically, there are always the typical investment banking exit opportunities, entrepreneurship, grad school, and a ton of other things that you can do within a corporation. As for private equity, as an exit opportunity for leverage finance, your chances depend greatly on the firm that you work for. So, like I mentioned, the firms that you have, some of them have more prestige or are respected more by private equity, and that's how you're going to get that position. So last but not least, should you even work for leverage finance? Now, you're always going to hear about M&A and how it's the best group in investment banking for exit opportunities, but in many cases, leverage finance groups can be just as good, and here it even says better in other cases. So if you get an offer with the top firm, like one of the ones that I mentioned before for leverage finance, you can definitely get some nice exit opportunities, and that's what a lot of people are looking to do when they get into these. So keep that in mind. If you're really looking to get into private equity, this could be a great stepping stone for you. So if you have decided that you want to do it, the internship preparation before working in a leverage finance group is here. Here are some of the main tips that you're going to want to take care of. So it specifies here to always be familiar with LBO models, although the extent to which you will model will largely depend on your team culture, like I mentioned. I would also not to forget to work with PowerPoint skills. Although you will do significantly less PowerPoint than in industry coverage groups, it still helps to be efficient at this level. And to understand the difference between leveraged loans and high-yield bonds, the processes, the technicalities. This is probably the most important, is being able to understand the technical aspects that can really make you stand out. If you guys are interested in taking our investment banking course, you can go ahead and click here and get more information on that. If you continue to scroll down, you're going to see related content in different threads that will be really helpful to you. So if you think leverage finance is your thing or you want to learn more information about it, I highly recommend, again, going to this link right here that I'll put in the description box below, and there will be some really great discussions for you to click on and read in the comments and learn. Another one that you guys should definitely take a look at is this overview of leverage finance. Now through this, it's going to have a lot of different information, and it is a very helpful post. So if you guys want to get in here, learn about these terms that I mentioned that are important to know, I would highly recommend that you go onto this. As you can see, it's packed with information and it has a lot of comments on it that will be sharing information and having more questions answered. Alrighty guys, I hope you found this video really helpful. If you have any questions, again, feel free to leave a comment down below or go to the description box with any of my links on there. Feel free to message me on any of my social media and I will always reply. Also, make sure to like, comment, and share this with your friends, anybody who's trying to break into finance. We're really trying to build a channel to help people out. We even have a new show called Monkey to Millions, which is just covering people's experience going and landing an internship at an investment bank or in finance. So make sure to check out that new show as well. I hope you guys subscribe and turn on your notifications, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.